Kane Vision welcomes in Steve Gully, the head cross-country coach at the University of Tulsa. NCAA championships. You get in, you had great performances leading up, and then you finish 11th.
Yeah.
How about that? I mean, that's your second best ever finish, right?
Yeah, it was, I'd say, a little bit of surprise because you never know what's going to happen. We've gone in with, I think we thought we've had good teams and not get the performances where I thought this team was coming well, but they went and put a great race together. So that was, you are still surprised because you don't know what you're going to get on that day. So yes.
And that day you get the best, the best teams, right? So I mean, the dynamic is a whole lot different than some of the other jamborees, right?
Absolutely, and you never know due to how the race is going to be run. Because I think if the race goes out quicker or it can go out slower, you can have different results. So I think the team showed a lot of experience, had guys that have been to the NCAA championships, and I think they got up and got in good position, which helped us get that 11th place finish.
Take us through the race a little bit, and depending on the course, you lose sight of the guys. You're at certain points. So how did it go for you and your coaching staff to try to follow along? And I know midway through the race, you guys were in the top 5, maybe?
Yeah, we were actually 4th at the 5K. It is hard because you're trying to pick up all these kids, and because it was a little bit windy, not a little bit, I'd say 30-mile gust, and 38 degrees, it was cold. It wasn't an aggressive race. So the kids got up in good position. It's hard to pick them up because all these uniforms, the pack did not break up. So there's a pack at 80 still probably at 5K. So it was hard, but I think we got 4 guys up at the front, and I think that's how we kind of pushed up there to be 4th at the midway point. And I don't think we went out aggressive. It's just some other people really finished really strong at the end. And I thought we did a really good job. I couldn't be happier. It showed the years of experience of being at the NCAAs really showed up in these kids. But again, same thing. I think Luke Trainer had a great race again. He was 30th, around 30th last year. He moves up to 13th this year. So I think all the guys were actually pluses for their experience coming back. Some of them finished, almost up to 70 places higher than they did last year.
Luke Trainer, as you mentioned, finishing 13th, so he's an All-American. Great performance by that young man, huh?
Absolutely. He not only did he win the region, but he backed it up with a 13th finish at the NCAAs. And with that kind of field, it is so good because they go back to 40 to 45 to be an All-American. So it was a great race for him. But I think we really did. I think we had our probably top 4 up there for most of the race, and I think that probably made a big difference. I mean, there was a people that stood out. I think Adam Roderick had a great race from last year to this year, really changed the dynamics of the team too. Ben Preisner had a great race. So I think a lot of it has to do with the experience in getting there.
Yeah, and certainly I have to feel pretty good with 11th. I know 7th a few years ago, but when you're number 11 in the nation, I mean, there's a certain amount of pride, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think we came in ranked 17th or 18th. I mean, we don't really get that caught up in the polls. We just look at how well we think we can do. But they're so dense. I really thought at one point we possibly could have been a top 10, but it was so competitive in the top 10. There wasn't a lot of points to separate them. So, maybe we were fortunate that day, but I think the guys put themselves in that position so they could be fortunate.
And of course, as you build your team through the year, and unlike football where the first game and the last game kind of count the same as a win or a loss, you kind of build the team and work and take, give a guy maybe a meet off for a particular reason. When you look back on it, did you do the right things, do you think? I mean, when you think about the entire experience of the fall for this team?
That's the scary part. I think when you go back and look like we hit everything right. Is this the plan moving ahead? I'm not sure still, because you still have to have an opportunity to get there, so you still are chasing that large points. But I think the kids going in the meet said we felt as good as we've ever felt. So I think the training was great. I think the attitude was good. And I think it paid off a lot. And it's kind of weird because we tell them the whole season can be erased with just one race, and that was the right race. And some of them stepped up, so they're going to be evaluated as 11th best team in the NCAAs.
And before we close it out, we do want to mention, of course, you have a Rhodes Scholar on your team. Kirk Smith gets a Rhodes Scholar, and that's a feather in your cap, certainly.
Absolutely, and a guy, it definitely deserves it. I mean, when we look back at Kurt, and this is something we evaluate too, is that it's amazing him coming here for academics, really truly academics, and running, but he ran in 3 conference championships for us. And I think that really speaks a lot because these are teams that have gone to the NCAA. For him to be in that lineup at the conference, that says that there's a lot of athletic ability there too.
Also says when you're out there running, you got time to think. You know, I mean, the kid obviously was thinking a lot as he's running, right? I mean,
he's outstanding academically, no question, and he's a great young man to be out there. He's a team captain, and it really means a lot. And we're very happy for Kurt.
Well, congratulations on the fall. Now what? You get into the winter season, of course. You don't get much time off. You get into the winter season in the indoor track season.
Absolutely,
right?
we first time in a long time. I think probably maybe 6 or 7 years that we're actually running in December a track meet.
Wow.
So we're going to go to some indoor meets, possibly just to get the rust busted up on some kids. But actually, the main one we'll be focused on is almost the first or second week we get back in January. They don't get much break. So maybe the distance kids will just train a little bit and get ready because they can't stay in the best shape for a long period of times. But yeah, it's already here. We're lining up in a couple of weeks and going.
All right, well, have a great holiday and get ready for late December. Coach, congrats on a terrific season here in the fall. Right. Head coach Steve Gully, University of Tulsa cross country.